what's up? Zach here, and it is that time of year again, the start of another NBA season, and these are my top 5 favorite basketball shoes for the start of the 2025-2026 NBA season, winter 2025-2026. Let's get into it. And I know I say this in literally every top 5 or ultimate guide video, but remember, there is no one best shoe. There's just a best shoe for you. So keep that in mind with this list. Honestly, I love hearing what people's top 5s are in the comments. So whatever yours are, let me know in the comments down below, because I like to kind of compare and contrast what I'm seeing versus what the community is seeing, because obviously you out there in the community probably a much better player than I am. A lot of people in this community are very, very high level players, and they come to this channel for a different perspective. So I like seeing what yours is, because obviously yours is probably going to be more skewed toward the, the more elite player aspect of it, kind of like how my reviews sometimes skew in the tennis space. So I'd love to know what your top 5 or even just, your favorite shoe is down below. All right, let's get into the number 5 shoe, and that is an oldie but a goodie now on this channel, and that is the Nike Sabrina 3. Now, I know a lot of people complained about these because they were very, very similar to Sabrina 2. And they are. Mainly, it's kind of an upper refresh, and I do love the pleats in the uppers. I do think you get a little bit more containment. The thing is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The Sabrinas are really popular for a reason, right? They really kind of are the next evolution in the Kobe lineup in terms of that philosophy of shoe. And I think that they do it just as well as any other shoe. Yes, they have basic materials. Like, there is nothing overtly technologically fascinating about these, but they do make the best use of all the materials in the shoe. The shape of the shoe, the flange on them, like I said, in the Sabrina 3, I do like the uppers in the Sabrina 3 more than the 2s and the 1s for sure. Really, I mean, if you're looking for a more nimble shoe that you can, put the jets on, you have just enough hops in them, but also enough comfort. You can put an orthotic in them, got the double thickness heel counter. Like I said, if it ain't broke from the 2s, why fix it in the 3s? All right, and coming in at number 4 on this list is a newcomer, and that is the 361 Big 3 6.0. These things are just insane. Number 1, with all the lateral containing elements on them, the external heel counter, and then the shank that acts as a platform on the medial side. It sandwiches the more thermoplastic foam with a little more of the forgiving foam underneath. I love when companies do this, when they put a little bit more of the bouncy foam on top and then a little more of the forgiving, really thin layer underneath of it, just to give it enough forgiveness. These ones have really nice breathing through the honeycombing on the inside of the shoe. Really, these ones got a super high rating, and honestly, these could be, a shoe of the year. To me, they're in the mix in terms of, best shoe out there, but yeah, to me, in terms of pure performance, this is maybe the best shoe out there, and also in terms of lateral containment with the bounce, yeah, just out of this world. Okay, coming in at number 3 is a tie, and this is gonna seem a little bit weird to some people, but just hear me out throughout the whole explanation. You'll get why I'm saying this. Number 1, it is the Nike Freak 7, as well as the New Balance 2A V5. Now, the reason I put these two together is because they're very, very similar shoes. Nike somehow, in making the Zoom Freak, now just the Freak line, into a completely different line of shoes, somehow stumbled upon like New Balance's formula in terms of making a really forgiving, but also like, easy moving shoe. Now, the Freak 7, all it really has is top-loaded shank and then cushion on the bottom, but the shape of them, the way they're made, the outsole tread, the full-length pattern of it, the lateral flange on them, they're mid so that they fit even bulkier orthotics. Honestly, this is like the simplest, most basic Freak shoe we've ever seen, and yet I absolutely, in terms of recommending shoes, I love them. And honestly, they remind me so much of the 2-way line. Now, the 2-way line, I still think maybe a little bit, I still recommend these more just because you can get them in widths more. The Fresh Foam X in the rear foot, that's really nice. The shank is a little bit stronger on them. You can fit orthotics, and I actually did. Sometimes I'll go on Reddit every so often just to kind of see what's going on. I'm not on there a lot, but sometimes I'll be on there. And I did see someone post about how they had these for over a year and was using them quite a bit, and they still looked really, really good. And I kind of had that experience too with a bunch of two-ways that I've used for kind of multi-sport, and the durability has been kind of outsized for being a shoe that can be used on indoor and outdoor courts and get the performance of both. So really a more like forgiving EVA-based shoe, the Freak 7 or the two-ways, no doubt about it, I think these are the two best on the market. All right, and coming in at number 2 is a tie for a completely different reason. Reason is one of the shoes is bumping up in model year. I don't know what the availability is gonna be like going into winter for the one, for the one versus the other. So you'll see what I'm talking about in a second. And coming in at number 2 is, number 1, the Joker 1 from 361, either the GT or just the regular, the GT SE. They're all fantastic. But the other shoe is the Way of Wade All City 13 Encore. I thought the Encores were a clear step up from the 13s. Number 1, because you do get the option of a dorsal retention strap. You can get the Encores with or without them. And then the foam setup is kind of a more traditional Way of Wade foam setup with the boom, plus the sandwiched plastic composite shank. So still, a little bit more forgiveness in there, but also a ton of snapback. And then you've got the 2 lateral flanges on here. I mean, the 13s were fantastic. I know some people didn't like the moon cratering in the heel. On the outside, these ones have stripped that out. So all in all, in terms of performance, the 13s, just a pure performance. I know I said about the big 3s, but the 13s might be the best shoe on this list in terms of pure that. But the 2 of them are kind of thermoplastic with the pretty premium shank plus the premium uppers. So they're both really good. I don't know what the Joker 2 is going to do. I've seen them online. 361 has told me as soon as they come out, I'll get one, but that might be a little bit. So I don't know what the availability is going to be like for the ones during the transition. You know what I mean? So either of these two, though, fantastic. They kind of occupy a similar space in the lineup. But yeah, for a debut signature shoe, the Joker one was out of this world. But also, like I said, the 13 Encore I thought was a little bit of a step up from the 13. Before I get to the number 1 shoe, I want to let you know about all the new perks that have dropped in the membership section of this channel. There's a 99-cent tier, which gets you priority response to comments, then badges and emojis. Then there's the $4.99 tier, which gets you all of that, but also access to the weekly live stream, which is basically recapping all the shoes I've reviewed during the week, getting to comments and questions and things I may just not have been able to get to in the reviews, or just, maybe things that have come up during the week that I've seen in the comments. I'll look ahead into the next week and let you know what shoes are coming up that I'll be reviewing. You'll also get a chance to request shoes to review or request videos or topics that you would like me to review, and that's a perk of that level, as well as just kind of going over all the industry news, performance, injury, pro sports, things like that. Just stuff that I didn't necessarily get a chance to go over that week in the channel, as well as just things I hear through the grapevine, through some of my industry connections, so a little more insider industry news that maybe wouldn't really warrant a whole video, but things that are definitely interesting coming on the pipeline, reactions to things that have come out, some more casual talk about more casual sneaker releases, things that, like I said, don't necessarily get a video on the channel, but kind of are under the whole panacea of the Foot Doctor Zach, tent. This is a pretty big tent of a channel. Last week we were talking about, injuries with LeBron and things like that, and his shoes and stuff. So there's all sorts of stuff that goes on the members only live streams, but they're pretty fun, a little more casual, and they go on every single week on Fridays, barring any holidays. So if you want to check that out, the join button is right below. And coming in at number 1, this has been another situation where I know that there's a ton of new models of shoes that come out and people want to see the latest and greatest, but there has been nothing that has eclipsed the KT10. Just like the Fresh Foam BB V2 before it, where that was number 1 on the list for a couple times running, nothing has beat this. This is the best until proven otherwise. Yes, the Joker ones, the 361s, the two ways, they're all perennial top shoes. But these ones have I haven't seen anything that has been able to compete on every single level with the KT10. I hope the 11s are as good. I really do. I hope that they don't go too far away from this philosophy because this was such a home run. So really, it's hard to go into a whole diatribe about these because they do everything so well. And there's just not much room for improvement on these. I think if anything, it'd be the tread. But it's one of these shoes where it's like the BBV2, it's just not much wrong with it, right? So when something new comes along and eclipses it, I think is better, I will certainly put it at the #1 spot. Like I said, I know people like to see the newest, latest, and greatest, but like I said with the Sabrinas, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, especially on these top 5 lists. So love to hear, like I said, your thoughts in the comments down below, which have been your top 5, let me know. And speaking of the latest and greatest and new shoes and kind of what's trending now, if you do want to see my take on the Nike Jaw 3 and the biggest problems I see with that, because I know this year that shoe is going to get so much press and so much hype, but it is a good shoe, but there are things you got to check out about that. Make sure you check out this video up above before you buy it, subscribe down below. I'll see you in that video.